Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Latte Lounge Podcast, where great conversations begin over a great cup of coffee. Before we get started, we'd like to dedicate today's episode to the brave men and women serving our country in the United States Armed Forces. Whether you're stationed here at home or deployed halfway around the world, your commitment, courage, and sacrifice help protect the freedoms we often take for granted. To our active duty service members, reservists, members of the National Guard, veterans, and the military families who stand beside them every step of the way, this episode is for you. From all of us here at the Latte Lounge Podcast and Cruise Bank and Trust, thank you for your service, your resilience, and your unwavering dedication to our nation. We are grateful and we salute you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Latte Lounge. And as we said before, we want to thank the men and women that serve this country. And speaking of serving this country, we want to thank the owner of Cruise Bank and Trust,
Bill Cruz, Rob Roberts, Ben Wyatt, and James Jerome.
So Scott, we had an eventful week where we went to Palace Pizza and got some pizzas for the men and women that serve this country. I think it was pretty cool.
Yes.
I think they don't get enough credit. I think that thanking our men and women is something that we should always do, not just because it's the 250th anniversary of the United States, but because, you know, we always want to give thanks for those men and women that are out there doing what we are here for, and the services that we get here in the United States, the freedoms that we experience. But we have a little clip for you guys. We took a little trip down there, and thanks to Palace Pizza, Cruise Bank and Trust, and Sam's Club, we took a little visit down to them to say hello and give them thanks. And we'll run that clip for you.
Happy 250!
Thank you, Cruise Bank and Trust.
Thank you, Palace Pizza.
Thank you, Sam's Club.
Happy 250th anniversary.
All right, thank you, Cruise Bank.
Thank you, Palace Pizza.
Thank you, Sam's Club.
Happy 250th anniversary.
And thank you to Cruise Bank and Trust,
Pizza Palace.
and Sam's Club.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Latte Lounge. Well, Scott, you're locked into the show now. Scott, tell us a little bit about Cruise Bank and Trust and what makes your approach to business banking different.
Well, start off with Cruise Bank and Trust. First, I want to thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. It's been fun so far.
Cruise Bank and Trust has been around since 1929, and they built their reputations on working with the small business owners. And one thing with Cruise Bank and Trust is we actually sit down and get to know our business owners. We have products, but we want to get to know what their plan is. Okay. So we sit down and put together products that will fit their needs and, to help them in their business, to grow their business, to succeed in their business. And, we want to see them succeed. And, it makes us happy to sit with the business owner and find out what their needs are and how we can help them.
Okay. From a business perspective, when is the right time for a business to consider applying for like a line of credit?
For line of credit, most business owners we speak to, we always talk to them, the 2-year mark is usually a good year. After 2 years, this way we can, collect their personal tax returns, their business tax returns. Our commercial lenders, we got some great commercial lenders, Andrew Foreman, Matt Butts and Brad Roden. They will sit with them, collect the tax returns and sit with them and go over things on, one, is it really a good time? Where are you at this time with your business? And we'll actually talk to them to see if it makes sense, because we do not want somebody to fail. So we may say, hey, at this time, just give yourself a little bit more time, or hey, this time is really a great time, let's go ahead. And the commercial lenders will actually lead them step by step. And Andrew, Matt, and Brad, between them, they probably have close to 70 years in experience, combined helping business owners.
And for a new business, what would you recommend? What would be a recommendation for a new business and starting their first business, what would you recommend?
What I would recommend again is sit down with us because we'd like to talk about the 3 stages of business. And the first stage, as you're saying, is the startup business. So we want to sit down and get to know what their plan is. Maybe show us your business plan, sit down, see what your target audience is. How can we help you, reach that target audience, help you grow your business with that. And once they do that, we sit down, we revisit them to come back in and see how they're doing, give them little details on how maybe you can move things and, move things around, gain your business, again, grow your business. And then once they're, in there for a few years, the next stage, of course, is expansion, and then we sit with them and we talk about, all right, let's talk about lines of credit. Let's talk about needs that you're going to have to grow your business. And, there's products that are out there that, help you. One, we offer merchant services for credit cards. We offer, wire services. Tell us how you plan to collect your, funds from your customers. And after that, the one mistake a lot of business owners make is they don't have an exit plan.
Oh, yeah.
So, we mentioned up front, you're starting up. This is your startup stage. What's your plan to grow? And when you're at the growing stage, now let's talk about a few years down the road is what's your exit plan? Do you plan on retiring, handing it over to, family, or are you planning to sell the business? And, what are you going to do with those proceeds from selling the business?
Yeah, gotcha. So what should every business, before choosing a bank, I'm a new business, and what should you look for in choosing a bank for your business?
One is, as I always say, you need to know who your banker is. So you need to find out who your banker is, and that's one good thing here at Cruise Bank. We sit down, the bankers, you get to know them personally, you have their phone numbers to call them, and we walk you through that. And the one thing we also, sit with business owners and say, what do you know about business? What's out there that you know about? And let us tell you some things you may not be aware of. And as I mentioned in the last episode, fraud on the business side is really a big thing too. So you got to look out for fraud.
Oh, gotcha. And I know we have a little information here for positive pay and helping protect your business from payment fraud. Tell us a little bit about that.
Positive pay is a great product. It's kind of like having insurance. So positive pay is basically, it protects you from if you write checks, even if you don't write checks.
Okay.
Because, fraudsters out there, all they need is to know your company, make up a logo similar to your company, and somehow get your routing number and your checking account number.
Oh, wow.
And it's not that hard to do.
Oh, wow.
And if you write checks especially, it's not hard to get all that information because you can write a check to a vendor that you don't know. Now they have your information. So Positive Pay is a product that each morning you go into we put together a chart basically of all your checks coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go in and check, and if you see a number's out of order, an amount's wrong, something's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you actually have a chance to stop that check from even hitting your account before the fraud even hits.
wow.
Same thing with ACHs when you send in, you have payments coming in and going out. We also offer the same thing for ACH to protect your business.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a simple account like insurance that protects you against fraud. And then something important that business owners should know about.
Okay. Would you say that people are using more digital platforms than checks anymore? Because I know checks, we all used to have the little checkbooks back in the day. But how does that transition from the past to now?
A lot of people are using digital, and that's, again, there's a lot of fraud in digital. It's so easy to get your information, and that's why the Positive Pay on the ACH is a great, product to have. It protects you against that fraud. There are still businesses that want that check.
Yeah.
They want to write checks, especially startups. They need the checks for their vendors. And again, they're writing checks to vendors that they may not know. So it's a great product to have.
Okay. And do you guys have that service that you scan the check on the phone, right?
Yeah, we offer where you can scan it right on the phone.
Okay.
We have it in machines that you can put remote deposit in your office, which is a great service too, where if you get a lot of checks, instead of doing one by one by phone, you actually run it through the machine and it goes right into your account right away.
Starting up a new checking account, how can you do that?
Easy. One is make sure you have your EIN number, and two, that you're registered on SunBiz.
Okay.
And that's basically all we need to do. If you're registered on SunBiz, we can, go into there. If you don't have your EIN number, we just need a SS4 letter, which shows your EIN number. Then you come in, we sit down with you, we make it nice and easy, and we go from there. Again, when you're in there, you're spending a little bit of time, but it's quality time, It's not just coming in to open up your account and leave. It's us sitting down with you to get to know yourself and your business and how we can help your business grow.
That's awesome. Well, Scott, thank you so much for today for informing us about that. Well, thank you also for that. And we're taking a short break, but we will be right back.
Babies need a college fund. Let's go.
All right, I've been training for this since last weekend.
Ooh, AI, freshman year, secured.
Awesome.
You sure this is how people prepare for college?
Guys, what are you doing?
College fund.
Guys, you need Cruise Bank and Trust.
Oh, honey, AI is crashing.
Taking the blindfold off your financial future. Cruise Bank and Trust. Managing your wealth so you don't have to.
Welcome back to the Latte Lounge. My name is Umberto, and our guests today is Wendall and Karen Bivins from the ACA American Club Association.
Hi, Humberto.
Hi. I feel like we did this before. Wendall, what is the ACA? What is ACA and how does it differ from other networking groups?
That's a really good question because that's one of the biggest questions that pop up. ACA is American Club Association. Actually been around since it was founded back in 1882. We had, former members all the way from Dwight Eisenhower, President Harry S. Truman. The concept of ACA was actually developed by Benjamin Franklin. But it's not a networking group, it's a private club which fosters relationship in a very unique way. Okay. And we all know as business owners, whether you're small to mid-size, because what happened is in 2014, they actually revised it for the 21st century of the ACA club. And what makes it unique, it's now it used to be for the very affluent and the very wealthy. But when they did the restructure, now it's for the small to mid-sized companies, as well as the entrepreneur and the professional, which is the backbone of America. Oh. So, and it took several years to develop this new system and stuff. And I tell you what, it's just sweeping the country.
Awesome. And why Lakeland?
Well, that's another very interesting story. We have another home in Kansas City, Missouri, and we were actually at a lake. We own an insurance brokerage firm. And we saw a sign that said ACA, and we're assuming that it means the Affordable Care Act. Oh. And but anyway, but there looked like to be a family reunion, and they were taking their kids out on boat rides and sailboat rides. And I told my wife, I said, our next family reunion, I want it just like this, Okay. And they had, but anyway, that sign, and which was interesting because if you're in the, if you represent the ACA, which is the Affordable Care Act, there's huge fines and that kind of thing. Okay. So I was just going to politely go over there and let them know that you might want to do something about your sign because we didn't want them to get in trouble. Yeah. So after seeing that sign, I just went, how you got that one guy that's barbecuing, you got the other guys around there. So I went up there and I said, I apologize, I don't want to interrupt your family reunion, but your ACA sign, I said, what does that stand for? They said, well, it's American Club Association. I go, oh my goodness. I thought it was Affordable Care Act. And I didn't want that person, whoever put that there, to get big fines and everything. And, he paused for a minute. He goes, you know what? We really appreciate you taking the time out because no one normally does that. And they said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, we own an insurance brokerage firm. And I said, and then I turned around and said, I don't want to interrupt your family reunion. Yeah. He kind of laughed again. He said, no. These are business owners that we get together once a month with our families. Okay. And I said, and it hit me. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, man, it was very unusual because you would have swore it was a family reunion. And but anyway, he said, would you both be, they asked me and my wife, would we be open for, some introductions? And they made a couple of introductions and they were the most nicest, humble individuals. But that's how we got introduced to ACA.
Okay, and what makes ACA successful or business for success?
Yeah, another really good question. As business owners, your net worth is going to determine your net worth.
Okay.
And but when you look at that, and ACA has mastered, and it's all about building those relationships. Because when you look at networking, yes, you're going to pass business card and that kind of thing. That's not what we do here. Okay. Here, it's all about building relationships. Okay. So without that, relationship, you have to have that relationship to have that trust. That trust opens up, those memories, you do things together, and then their sphere of influence now become your sphere of influence. So it has nothing to do about your company name or your company. It's the individual, it's the person that you are.
Gotcha. And Karen, I know you have some successful stories, some business.
Oh my gosh, I have so many success stories. We launched in February of this year, and I probably can give you 30 situations already where our ACA members have helped each other out just by relationship building. But my favorite one is on one of our founding members. He's in the staffing industry, and I used to be in the staffing industry, so I have a little piece of my heart, wanted to help him. Yeah. And we got together one day, and we were just talking about how we could help each other out, and he had shared that they had lost one of their clients, a big manufacturing client, not due to their services, as they had moved and they had just lost the staffing piece. I was like, well, let me see what I can do to help. So the next coffee, I invited a couple manufacturing individuals, and one of the presidents of the manufacturing company just happened to show up. I connected them, built that relationship for them. They exchanged business cards. Next thing you know, he had a meeting with them, and now they're signing contracts. Awesome. So that was all because of them meeting at a club coffee. Just awesome. Not handing out business cards, just basically introducing people to other people, and awesome. That's one of my favorite stories so far.
That is awesome. And I took a trip down there and look at your place. It's beautiful. You have all the monitors with the businesses, and that's one thing that stood out. Like you have the members up on the wall that people can and anybody once your business are part of the club, you can come in and utilize the facilities and have coffee. And how often are the meetings?
Well, actually, we have about eight meetings, which were business development teams, or you can call it masterminds, where you got anywhere between 8 to 12 business owners that actually collaborate on a weekly basis to help one another.
Okay. And how important are relationships versus technical expertise in the business?
Yeah, that's, when you look at you could be the best company on the planet, you can have the best technology, you can have the best this and that, but without that relationship, and without that trust, then you're a salesperson. Gotcha. So here, we just break down those barriers to make those introductions, just so you can see the true value of that value add for that company, but it's about that individual that represents that. Yeah. So that's another key factor as well.
And Karen, what could they expect on their first coffee?
Oh my gosh, so we have club coffees every Thursday from 9 to 10, and we encourage all the guests to bring guests, but guests that are a good fit, because we are a private business club, and we want to keep that culture that we've created to make sure that everybody has servant leadership heart, and they're just a good fit for ACA. So they're going to get just amazing service when they walk in that front door. We have ambassadors, so once that guest comes in, that ambassador is going to say hello, smile on their face, going to go make sure that they have coffee and danishes, and then introduce them to other connections within the room. We never, ever, ever want a guest to be standing alone in a corner. So they're going to get carte blanche, and then once we start our actual coffee and we do announcements, our guests actually get to introduce themselves as well, talk about their company, who they are, a fun fact about them. So what that does, it allows all of our members now to know who the guests are, so that they can come over and meet and greet and start those relationships.
Gotcha. And how can a business get involved?
Oh, that's an easy question. If you go to the website and go to, just do a Google search and do ACA Lakeland, our website will pull up, and they can just fill out the contact form, and we'll get them invited to a coffee.
Awesome. And Wendall, what is your vision for the ACA?
Yeah, it's our vision here is, it might be going a lot faster than what I expected, but here in the next 4 to 5 years, we'll actually have 40 ACA clubs across the state of Florida.
Okay. And how can listeners get in contact with you? Is it a direct contact, or do you have, or just the website?
Oh yeah, just go straight to the website. All the contacts, number, and everything's there. ACA
Network.org.
Network.org, and it's just we're eager to speak to you and make some introductions for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm sure our listeners, and we'll have all that information on our website and also our YouTube for listeners to be able to contact with you. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
It was certainly a pleasure.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey, Gary.
Need some help?
Don't touch that.
Tyler, they aren't even the right lamps.
I'm preparing for our future.
Yeah, well, when you get your 3 wishes, can I get one to help unpack this mess?
Gary, do you want the last one?
I don't need a wish. And you don't need some magic lamp. You need Cruise Bank and Trust.
Some things shouldn't be left to chance. Cruise Bank and Trust, managing your wealth so you don't have to.
Put your game face on, let the whole crowd know. We came to compete, we came to grow. Run it, jump it, pull it, don't stop. Field day challenge, taking it straight to the top. Game face on, hands in the sky, team spirit rising.
Welcome back to the Latte Lounge. My name is Umberto, your host, and our next guest is Tom Schultz and Toby from Liquidation Motivation. Tom?
How you doing?
All right.
Good to see you.
Toby? Awesome. Guys, how do you like Downtown Lakeland? Downtown First Friday and Cruise Bank and Trust. Amazing view outside here. Everything good?
Yeah, it's been incredible. We walked around the streets. We went to all the booths. We went to the antique shop down the road.
Food,
here.
yeah,
We
there's
visited
food.
That Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
Downtown. I've never been to Downtown Lakeland.
A lot's going on within the last couple of years. It has been totally different. New restaurants. I mean, everything's been. And First Friday is the kicker for it because we get so much, going on down here to experience food trucks and food and all kind of. We're glad to have you down here. What inspired you for the motivation channel? Liquidation motivation.
My whole life I've been a bargain shopper, a bargain hunter. When I was 5 years old, we lived in Germany. My dad was a military man, and he used to take us. My mom used to take us out to what they called junking. Right, and what that was is all the German families would throw stuff out, and the American families would go pick through the garbage.
No way.
Well, because an antique for us was something 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
In Germany, it was 300-400 years old. So they were throwing out all this stuff. My mom got me involved with that, and ever since that day, I just I've always been a bargain shopper, a bargain hunter, looking to find value in something that somebody else doesn't want. And selling it for more money. So
awesome.
That started me in I started early in liquidation. I think when I was going to college, I went to the Salvation Army and I bought a pair of size 13 narrow Sebago shoes for $5.
Oh my God!
I sold them on eBay for $120, and that day I was like hooked.
Oh.
I'm like, you telling me I'm going to college to make this much money, but if I can just hustle buying and selling things for a living, so I was hooked from that day on and haven't stopped.
That's awesome. So Liquidation Motivation, the channel. Tell me a little bit about that.
So Liquidation Motivation. So we're the largest YouTube channel in liquidation. So it's exploded lately, and now we're doing all the trade shows. We have a lot of speaking events. But what we really do is we teach people how to buy and sell things and make money from that. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I never want that to change, and I encourage a lot of other people, including my son here, Toby, to be an entrepreneur, and kind of, you can there's so many different angles you can go in liquidation that you can find your niche, and then you can make a lot of money. You can make more money than having a regular job, and you get to write your own schedule.
That's awesome. And Toby, you also work with your dad at the store, right? Or
I do,
the different
yeah.
stores. How many stores do you guys have in Lakeland?
In Lakeland, we only have.
We have one in Lakeland, but we have 7 total stores.
Total stores, or that you've helped put together and whatnot.
But Toby was, with us since he was 5 years old, at flea markets, hustling stuff. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not. But, so he grew up in the business, learning what dad does and how to buy and sell. And and just recently he closed a couple deals where he made a lot of money on them. And so he's growing, and I'm glad to have him in the business, and he's learning and he's trying to figure out what his future is.
I know when I met him, I was passing by walking down the aisle, and I was looking at a piece of furniture, and he approached me, and he was best salesman you could possibly imagine. He just came up. So I was very impressed by his.
He's a very good
You
salesman.
taught him very well in being in that. Liquidation motivation. What have any entrepreneurs that have been inspired by your channel and what you have put together?
I mean, so there's a couple big trade shows for liquidation. You would not believe, we go to these trade shows and people line up by the hundreds to talk to me and tell me how I changed their life. And that's very inspiring. I mean, and a lot of the stories are people are professionals, but they hate their jobs. They hate their jobs. They don't like the industry they're in. A business partner of mine who I partnered with was an engineer. He left being an engineer to go into the liquidation business, and now he's making way more money than he was, as an engineer, as a professional.
It's amazing.
So we've inspired a lot of people. It's humbling when you meet, but not only that, but like 22-year-old kids that said, I had no direction. Now I own a warehouse. I started with a little warehouse. Now I'm 40,000. Then I went to 80,000 square feet, and I'm 25 years old now. 3 years in the business, and I'm killing it.
Wow.
It is humbling to have the channel and hear stories like that.
What would you recommend to somebody that would want to get into the liquidation business or open up their own store? I know I watched one of your episodes where you touched on that, and it was very inspiring and educational. What would you recommend?
Well, I mean, you kind of have two angles to go. I think you can start small and shop at stores that Toby and I run, and try to learn how to make money that way through eBay, through Amazon, through Marketplace, through any way that you can flip merchandise. Or you can go big and start a pallet warehouse.
Okay.
Because the hardest thing in this business is buying truckloads. And so in order to get the most now listen, our job is Christmas every day.
Oh wow.
Right, it's Christmas. Imagine you just paid 20 grand for a truckload. It has 30,000 items on it, and you have no idea what's on it. So you bring it in and you open it up and you're like, it might be iPads, it might be, who knows what.
Yeah.
We found a couple of canning cameras, a few thousand each.
Yes.
Canning, you just never know. So it's honestly Christmas, and tell you the truth about Christmas, we don't have to buy Christmas presents anymore because, but my wife's like, you didn't pay for that. I'm like, I paid 20 grand for that truckload. Who cares that I took something out of there for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that was my next question. I was like, and I won't tell anybody, do you guys get first pick?
I mean, for most part, so we're in the bin store business, which I know we're going to touch on here. We take those pallets and dump it in bins.
You don't even know.
And then sell it and we don't even know what's in that bin. Now, don't get me wrong. If my wife's looking for a UV red mask and they're $800 and I see one, of course I'm going to bring it home to her, right? Of course I'm going to do that.
You got to be the hero.
Yeah. But I mean, we try not to touch the merchandise. And the truth is, I've been in this business so long that I don't need anything else. I've already taken home everything I need.
I've talked to a lot of people that I know that go to the bin store and they literally have closets full of stuff. Some people sell, some people buy for themselves. I personally go myself to, for the things that I need. But it is amazing what do you see the business going in the next couple of years?
I mean, the truth is the business is getting a little harder. Amazon is changing. Amazon's probably our biggest supplier, and they're changing how they're selling their merchandise. It used to be like they sell it to a contract holder. The contract holder sells it to me. I put it in the store, and then the consumers buy it.
Okay.
But Amazon now is trying to go direct to big auction houses and that, so the supply is going down. It's making the industry a lot tougher right now. But my whole life I've been hunting for deals, and I'm not going to give that up. So I just have to find other places to find good deals.
Yeah, I know in one of your episodes that I was watching as well, you spoke about don't get into the bin business unless, and that's what I kind of took on that.
Well, some people start out with a bin store, and we're the most known in the country for bin stores. We have the largest bin store in America right here in Lakeland, Florida.
Yes,
at the Lakeland Square Mall. So we're pretty excited about that. But for somebody to open up a bin store, they haven't taken the lessons on what it takes to buy truckloads. You know, you have to learn the good, the bad, the ugly, because liquidation
Yes.
is not pretty.
It
It's
is.
not pretty. There's good actors, there's bad actors,
is.
there's people trying to make a lot of money, people that just try to want to get rid of inventory, and you got to figure that out before you start your bin store. So
Yes.
that's why I always recommend get into buying truckloads first, get a little warehouse,
Yeah.
buy a truckload, sell the pallets off to resellers, and then build your business up from there, and then you can open a bin store.
Awesome. That is awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break, but you know what? I have an Amazon cart full of stuff. And what do you do when you have an Amazon cart full of stuff and you don't? I mean, with the economy nowadays, it's just, ridiculous. You're paying so high prices for things. And when you tell somebody that you can find these things in a bin store for a fraction of the price, some people really don't believe it. I've myself have gone on the channels, YouTube channels, and seen people disbelief, like they don't believe it. They think it's a joke, but it's actually a reality. But we're going to take a break and come back short, and we'll talk a little bit more about the bin store business.
Unlock passive income today. Create digital products easily with Canva. Turn your designs into continuous cash. Start with Pixel Studio Suite.
Welcome back, guys, to the Latte Lounge. We're going to keep going with the whole bin craze deal here. So there's a lot of things around bin stores nowadays evolving, and imagine you have a business or you have a bin store, and you now get people coming in, and people are emotionally shopping. So what do you guys think about the emotional side, about the business, about the whole treasure hunting and getting people like excited about things that they're going to find?
Well, I mean, I think first let me explain the concept of the bin store. So basically, we take these truckloads, which is $200,000 to $300,000 worth of merchandise. We dump it in bins every week. We have 200 bins in our bin store here in Lakeland, and then we sell it starting at $12. So no matter what the value is, we don't care if it's a $200, $300, $500 item. It's $12 the first day. It's a concept that people really have never heard of. You know, it's more of a value proposition to people. And who are our shoppers? You know, our shoppers are resellers. Like, we get a lot of resellers. We get a lot of price-conscious consumers, families, middle-class families that just, think, hey, things are rough out there. I don't want to pay this big bucks for these items. You know, let me go to Bin Chasers and see what I can find for a value. Like Christmas time, we're crazy busy because everybody's looking for gifts, and then we got hoarders. So we do have a lot of hoarders out there that just want to that just fill their carts up with anything they can get. So yeah, I mean, the psyche of a customer is, if you're the price-conscious consumer, if you're the reseller, you're searching all day for great deals. If you're the price-conscious consumer, what can we use as our family? If you're the hoarder, I don't know how to explain that much, but they also come out. But the customers love our store. They love the value that we deliver them. I mean, people I think we had a story on Dollar Day. Somebody found like a $700 Swarovski necklace on Dollar Day. I mean, that's an incredible find, right? That's an incredible find, an incredible deal for somebody.
And you can find pretty much anything. I mean, you have furniture. I know I talked to you, Toby, one time that I went into the store, and there is actually really good furniture. We spoke together, and you were giving me a kind of a tour of the place. How do you guys do the furniture? Because some bin stores don't only carry certain things, which is basically, and I'll be honest, most of the ones that I've been to are very like little trinkets here, and usually from Japan, like just stuff that you would see from Japan. Your store is set aside. The stores that I've gone that you guys have been involved with are just out of this world. I mean, furniture that you would normally pay thousands of dollars for, and here do you guys do, like, is it a set price for the furniture, or do you negotiate?
So all of our furniture comes either brand new, reused, or returned from Wayfair.
Okay.
We pay per truckload, we get them in, and how he liked to do it at his warehouse is half a retail. It's how he would price them at. We skim some off the top because it's just time to get rid of them, not hold on to it for much longer. But everything is not a set price. Everything's negotiable. Okay.
And there's also a auction that you guys do as well, right?
So we do a lot of auction business. We do Whatnot auctions. We do TikTok live auctions. We have a live auction in Lake Wales every week. So we are heavily. We also have a high bid auction, which is for bigger items that people can come pick up.
Okay.
So we do all 4 of those auction platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, basically we get in so many truckloads that we just try to find the right way to get rid of it. But our favorite way is the bin store.
Gotcha. Tom, the customers come in through the door. I've seen it. Hordes of people pour in. Take me behind the scenes of what it takes to get that prepared. I know it's a lot of work, and I've been there before. I've seen the massive amount of of people coming in, but there's also like 200 bins. How do you guys, take me behind the scene and show me a little bit of how that works.
I mean, behind the scene is it takes 4 full tractor trailer full to fill our store every week. You know, so you think that is 106 pallets, so 106 6-7-foot pallets filled with merchandise. We dump them in the bins, and then we just sell them at the $12 rate. So it goes 12, 10, 7, 5, 3, 1, 50 cents. So we don't care what day anything sells on. We just want to get through all of that merchandise. So the challenge for us is we want to bring people a variety of merchandise, because what you like, maybe your wife doesn't like, right?
Yeah.
So we have like CVS loads that are going to have a lot of health and beauty, a lot of hair products, a lot of, you know, curling irons, blow dryers, things like that. And then also we have Home Depot loads that maybe you're going to like. There's plumbing supplies, there's sink fixtures, there's, you know, it's like, I can't explain what we have in there because I never know what's going to come in it, and it can be anything. It can be anything. And the worst thing I ever do is I go home and order stuff on Amazon, right? The next day I see it in the bin, and I'm like, why did I even buy it? Yeah,
it's happened to me as well.
Just go to the bin store, find what you're looking for. It's in there. I mean, we have 50,000 items in the bins every week. What you need is going to be in there. You just got to find it, and then you got to decide what day is the day that you want to buy it, so the price works for you.
That's amazing. If I can get an assistant to come up, I got a little show and tell today, and I'm going to show you guys out there, the audience, but I need if I can get an assistant to come over here and hand me the stuff, and I'll just give you an idea, because people want to know. It's like, hey, is that true? Well, you know what? Let me tell you today, I'm here to tell you that it is true. Starting off with, now this is a nice find, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is a $500 Sennheiser headset, and this headset is basically $500. $500 for this headset. Now, if I told somebody that they find this at a bin store for $12, would you believe me? Well, I did. And there's much more. If I can get, where's my, there we go. And another thing, this microphone that I'm using today, professional microphone, $12. Netza's gonna put the amounts at the top here so you can see we're gonna total out everything that I've purchased so you can kind of get an idea what you're gonna spend and what you're gonna save. Now, this is this microphone right here, which is the Mawano 250, I think it is. Yeah, the 200, it's a wireless mic. And what else do I have here? Now, these are all my purchases, my personal experience. My personal experience. And then the Mawano mixer here, this is all totaling, you have $500 for the headset, you have $140 for the mixer, and then you'd have about $140 for the microphone. Total that up. Now you got $12 here. Now it changes prices. So tell us a little bit about the price change, or how the pricing works.
Right. So we start off. We do our reload on Thursday. So Friday is our opening day, our big day. 500 people show up in line, maybe even more. By the time our store is open, we got 1,000 people in the store. That's when the 50,000 new items are put out. Everything is $12 in the store on Friday. Saturday, we lower it to $10, Sunday to $7, Monday to $5, Tuesday to $3, Wednesday to $1, and then Thursday, 50 cents.
That's
50
insane.
cents. And so we don't even care. We just want it all to sell. We don't care what day. So we're trying to bring everybody value. You know, if we bring everybody value, even if everything sells on $2 day, that works for us. That works for us. We're able to, to be able to re-up, to buy the next 4 truckloads for the next day.
Yeah,
So.
and over $700, like this is what I've saved. So it kind of leaves me baffled because I'm like, wow, I can have most of this stuff was sitting in my Amazon cart anyway, but just to give you an idea of what you can save and what you can find, because the things that you find there, I mean, it's pretty much anything. I've gone on dollar days and found M.2 drives that range from like $300. So you were figuring, I tell my friends that they don't believe it. They're like, no, I gotta be, I've taken people up there to experiment, and once they're hooked. Once I take them there, I'm like, hey, where you at? I'm at the bin store.
Yeah.
But Tom, and we took a little trip. Me and the producer, Netza, took a little trip up there, and we decided to have a little fun. And we're gonna roll that clip for you guys, and have a little fun with that.
now.
That's a good deal.
I like this song.
And there you have it, folks. We had a great time that day. No boxes were hurt, and and Tom, you know, what do you see the future in bin stores? Like, do you see it increasing in stores? Do you see bigger stores? How about overseas or in other countries?
So, I mean, our company, Liquidation Motivation, does a lot of exporting to other countries. You know, we export to Mexico, to Puerto Rico, to the Caribbean islands. So there is a lot of bin stores opening up all around the world. I mean, I think it's just going to keep growing as long as the supply is there. So
Yeah.
as long as everybody keeps buying retail and returning or having overstock, we're still going to be in business.
Yeah.
So.
So where you see like Christmas getting like really busy during the Christmas time?
Yeah, our sales, you know, especially in Florida when the snowbirds come down, our sales double during that period of time.
Awesome.
So, you know, but I mean, we've been growing all year long. You know, a great customer base. Every week it gets busier and busier, and you know, it's just a fun business. Like I said, it's Christmas. Christmas every day.
Every
it's just
day.
a fun business.
It's like a Black Friday.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes, it
Awesome. Well, thank you folks for joining us today for another podcast of the Latte Lounge. We thank you guys for coming. Tom and Toby, thank you so much for being on the show. You guys are awesome. We love what you do, and hope to have you back soon one day to tell us about more stuff if you have.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. And folks, remember to like and follow the channel. And that concludes our show. Thank you again for listening to the podcast, The Latte Lounge.